Welcome to Beyond the Barns podcast with Walworth County Fairgrounds. Find out what happens behind the scenes, the challenges, and the work it takes to make 99 acres of fun for Walworth County and beyond.
All right, we are kind of in the final countdown here.
Yeah, we are.
Yes, we are.
How many days away are we?
Oh, don't say it.
It's the 18th.
Getting close.
Yeah.
It is getting close. And that third voice that you hear this morning,
Jodi Swatek,
Open class superintendent for Home Ec.
Home Economics.
so you might be a little busy these days.
I am.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
So,
Let's get a little background.
and I'll ask one question and then we'll go to background. How many entries do you think come into that department every year? Would you have any idea how many entries we have right now
I have no
for
clue.
the total fair?
No.
I think it's like 15,000.
Okay, so I probably see 1,500 to probably 1,500 in my department.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy. So, superintendent of Home Ec, open class, you are meeting and dealing with tons and tons of people every year at the fair.
Yes, because I actually have 5 different areas in that building that
All right.
I oversee.
We'll dig into that in a minute. So what's your kind of history of the fair? Have you been showing at the fair for a long time yourself?
Yes, I started when I was 10
Wow.
in 4-H. Went through the full 4-H and FFA program.
I won't ask how many years ago that was.
No.
Just a few. Just a few years.
I tricked Marianne Pierce into telling us how
Yeah.
old she was, that's for sure. So since 10 years old, and what was your interest in the beginning? And what kind of projects and stuff did you work on?
First year I showed rabbits, foods, clothing,
Wow.
that type of thing, and then went into swine, sheep, but always in the home ec departments, mostly home furnishings, knitting, crocheting.
Nice. At a young age. My mom tried to teach me how to knit when I was like 10 years old. I could do like a straight thing, but it never made anything. It was just kind of like, whatever
I
the width
can't.
goes.
I cannot even believe what I'm hearing right now. I think that's fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
Well, do you remember the NFL player Rosie Greer?
No.
Huge, like offensive lineman. I think he played for the Rams, and he confessed that he liked to knit. And I think he did ballet too, or something like that. And anyway, so it kind of was a fad back in like 1972 for guys to kind of learn how to knit because he was like this big tough guy. Anyway, so
I would
knitted.
love to learn how to do that and crochet and what the difference is and all of that. But
Yeah. So you did a lot of different types of projects, livestock and
Yes.
all that. Yeah. So I know it's kind of tough when you're going through the home ec department because I'll tell a little backstory. Last year, and I talked about this when we were interviewing Marianne and Bob Pierce. Marianne asked me for a ride to the parking lot, and I said, no, you got to go over to home ec with me first if I'm going to give you a ride. So she came over, and the three of us walked around the home ec department. One of my favorite fair moments ever, by the way. I never really knew enough about it. And what a great tour you gave, Jodi. And walking around, there's so many different types of projects there from, home goods, furnishings, like you said, quilts, pies, blah, blah, blah. So what's your kind of favorite, when you're looking at the way you have things displayed there, what entries do you kind of think are your favorite, by the way?
I always go towards the quilts.
Yeah.
And I love our quilt display with the quilts hanging up in the rafters.
Yeah.
When you walk in, it just makes
It does.
a presentation and
It's all great.
it
We're
really
not saying
does.
anything's less or
Right,
whatever, but like
absolutely.
everybody has their personal
Everybody
thing.
has their, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about quilts for a minute. So I understand this is one of the larger quilt shows in the state of Wisconsin. Is that right?
It is, especially at the county fair level.
Oh, yeah.
We bring in over 100 quilts every year.
And the style changes.
It does. And
Over
it's something
time.
I have to keep up with
Yeah.
in writing my entries.
Yeah. And you were talking about one particular style last year when you were giving us a tour of that. There was these quilts with, it looked like scenes from, a city or something like that. And I can't remember. I was trying to remember what style you called that.
They call them landscape quilts.
Landscape. Well,
Okay.
that makes sense to me now.
It really does. It does. I was right there with you, though. I was like, oh.
The amount of work that goes into those. How many hours do you think a good quilter, how many hours do you think they would have in a project like that?
Easily 80 to 100
Wow.
when you're talking
Oh my
something that
gosh.
size. And they'll be working with pieces that are an inch square.
Right.
Wow.
They're so intricate.
So much talent.
And
there.
then to source the materials, right? I mean, how much time do you think they use just trying to find the materials that will fit right to do a landscape type quilt?
Well, several of us have large collections to start with, so
I gotcha.
you can
Okay.
go into your stash
Oh,
and
that
pull
makes
what
sense.
you need. But,
Sure.
It's like a wood shop guy. He's
It is,
Or your
exactly.
husband is a welder. He
Yes.
owns what, RC Welding? Yeah,
Yes.
he's got a bunch of steel laying around. He can
Correct.
make about anything. Yeah.
So do the people, do they come up with with their own landscape, or where do these people get the ideas for these?
it can come from anywhere. It can come from patterns. It can come from
Okay.
photographs.
Okay.
It can come from paintings.
They're like,
Okay.
oh, I'm going to make a quilt out of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that's
transfer
crazy.
that art to fabric. Just
So,
another form of art.
You know, when I think of quilting, I think of my mom because she's a quilter. But she's, 80 some years old. And I guess when I stereotype in my mind what a quilter's like, I think of people like my mom, that age category and all of that. But I'm guessing that there's a lot of young people that are starting to do this now too, aren't there?
There is. We have several good home ec teachers in our high schools in the area who go into the fiber arts,
Nice.
and they're teaching that.
Wow,
Back
that's
teaching
great.
that in schools, which is wonderful.
Yeah, well,
Very good.
it's a skill and a craft that I just hope continues to flourish and stuff. And boy, if you haven't seen the quilt show during the fair, please go down there and take a look. It's pretty amazing.
You'll
It
be
really
wowed.
is. Yeah.
That's for sure. It's a wow factor when you walk in.
And so in home ec, just like any other thing, how many judges are you dealing with in these different projects?
Over the course of days, Monday I have 3, Tuesday I have 2, Wednesday I have 3, Thursday I have 1.
And so are they multiple disciplines, some of these judges?
Yes.
They do more than one type of thing.
Correct.
So I suppose in like home goods and that sort of thing, they might be qualified. And how are judges considered? What do they go through to become what you would call a qualified judge? What's the
A lot of our judges in Wisconsin have home ec degrees,
okay?
and that's how they were certified or where they learned.
Got it.
Some of us, like myself, I'm a certified judge, and it's experience plus my education. And
you're certified by
The state.
by the state of Wisconsin.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I was.
Yeah. So when I put my application in, I filled out the application, then I had to turn in letters of recommendations from current judges.
Okay,
I see.
so it's a process. And,
It is.
yeah, so it's not just the average Joe going, "Hey, I like that one better. This pie tastes better." It's not that. There are a lot of little rules, right? This premium book that we have for our fair, for those that haven't entered in our fair before, I'm guessing that premium book with rules and all the different categories and stuff has to be over 100 pages.
Oh, easily.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and every rule in there is in there for a reason because something happened in the past that created that rule.
Correct.
And I'll give a funny example. We were at the Iowa State Fair, and they had the biggest boar contest. And I read the rules in the premium book for entering the biggest boar contest, and one of the rules was that the pig needed to be alive,
Oh, well,
which means that
That's
somebody tried to
probably
bring
a
in
good rule to have.
somebody tried to bring in a dead pig or a judge of this. So anyway, but on a more serious note, all these rules are in there for a reason.
Yeah.
And there's strange rules too. Like we started this kind of an other contest in the home ec department last year, this Piggly Wiggly perfectly pickled pucker bowl.
Try to say that. Jodi, have you
Yeah,
been
5
practicing
times.
that?
No.
Since last year.
Anyway, a kid can win $5,000. You can look at the details for it on our website or on Facebook or something like that. But the rules, I was kind of involved with that. The first time really in being involved with rules that would actually be published into a contest. And I didn't realize that, and I was reading through the canning regulations from the state or what things are judged, and little things like the amount of gap between the cap and the liquid in a jar of pickles has to be within so many. How is that? You know what I mean?
And why is that important when you're judging?
well, it's the safety of the product, especially
Oh,
canning.
sure.
So all those rules are set by the extension, state of Wisconsin.
Right.
Been tested through the UW system as to what provides a safe canned
Sure.
product.
Yeah,
for the
that's the
home.
most important
Right.
part right there. But then it goes on and on from there, how you're judging. Like, let's talk about a jar of pickles. What I mean, do you know a little bit about what judges are looking for in a jar of pickles?
Sure. They're looking for that headspace that we just
okay.
talked about. The evenness of size of the product in the jar, the proper processing time and method.
And they also, the contestants have to provide like their recipe with this, right? Right. Yeah. So at first, like last year, we had over, I think, 100 jars of pickles over that. And you got judges trying to whittle this down into one person who's going to be the grand prize winner of $5,000. There's no second place. There's
Correct.
no third place, right? So a lot of pressure on the judges, you, the department, the fairgrounds, anybody involved in that. The sponsor, of course, Frank's Piggly Wiggly, make sure that the decision is correct. So you have 100 of them. You're not tasting 100 pickles.
Correct.
And this year it's not pickles are excluded.
Yeah, well, cucumbers are.
Or cucumbers, correct.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm
pickle
sorry.
any other
or yes,
vegetable.
pickle, yes. That is, yeah.
So, so the judges explain the process, like whittling it down from 100 down to, let's say, the top 10.
So they're going to start probably with that headspace. When they line those jars up, they're going to make sure all those jars have that proper headspace.
Yep. And if it doesn't,
that's out.
Right.
Same with processing time. Did they follow the recommended processing times for canning that jar of pickles? So were they water bathed? Were they pressure canned? To make sure that, again, is a safe product. And then from there, they're going to go through the quality of the product in that jar.
just based on appearance.
Yep. Appearance, evenness of size. If you're looking at a sliced product, are all those slices nice and even? If you're looking at a cut product, is all the cut lengths the same?
Yeah, when we were talking with, I've heard this from Frank's too at the grocery store, and then Bob and Mary Ann Pierce. It's like people will buy a lot of product and whittle it down to just a few that they use, or if they do their own garden, they might
harvest.
They might dig up 50 cucumbers or 50 peppers or whatever it might be, and then only use just maybe a slice out of this one or 2 slices out of that one so that it looks perfect. And so then how many did the judges last year end up tasting?
So each judge picked their top 5 of the ones that went past them, and then those 15 were all brought together. And
so three judges.
Three
okay,
judges
so you did 15. Okay, and then they try them all. And then what are they trying to experience when they're eating?
So on that cucumber, it's going to be flavor. It's going to be crispness. You don't want that.
Yeah, you definitely have to have a crisp one. Yeah,
just cucumber. It's going to be color. It'll be when they open that jar, how does it look at when they're looking down in it? How was it packed? Was it packed tight?
Yeah.
Is your vegetables or cucumbers floating in their liquids?
Yeah. So now there's other, and taste obviously, right? There's other competitions too where taste is involved, right? Other than pickles, I mean there's
our entire
everything.
Foods category.
Yeah. So pies and so. I want to know, how do you become a pie judge?
I would like to know about cakes, please.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, like, about how many pies and cakes and things like that do you think we get entered in?
Cakes have been dropping off. They're probably down to 30 or 40. Pies probably 20, 25. Our big competitions are going to be cookies, chocolate chip cookies, nothing to have 18, 20, 25 plates of chocolate chip cookies lined up.
Wow.
The other one will be those Dairy Delight contests are always big.
Do you see a trend from year to year as far as, like you said, the cakes have been dropping off a little bit? Does that fluctuate through with different years, or is there trends?
A lot of it's weather related. When you go to bake, if it's a humid day, the day before they bring in those foods, my numbers will be down. If it's a nice,
it makes
nice,
a difference.
Beautiful day. Yeah, it makes
And
Because
you wouldn't think that it
what?
would make a difference, like in the house, but it really does.
What does it do to a cake?
They won't rise as even.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you were looking at me. I'm like, I don't know. I just know that on a humid day, it's tough to have
Your frostings won't set up
Yeah,
nice.
it's
gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
Listen to
pie.
the expert over here.
But everybody's in the same boat, right?
Everybody's in the same boat.
Yeah.
So, have you ever looked back historically at what the premiums were years past for winning things like that? Like the best pie at the fair and that sort of thing. Like I look back in the 40s and 50s. Did you ever look back?
They're
that far?
probably 25, 50 cents.
Some of them were like a pie. Like I think in the mid 50s was $1.50.
Well, it's probably only $2.50 or $3 now.
Yeah, I don't think inflation. I don't think we've caught up with inflation.
not
these
at all.
pyramid
No,
things.
not at all.
Yeah, that was
Not at
one
all.
reason we started some of these special contests to see, maybe that would help get some interest of kids and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I don't know, but the pies, like the crust is very important on what ingredients you use on the flour. This is what I've heard. The flour and just everything to set that up. Or if you use lard or, combination of butter, just everything. Everything I'm doing wrong.
right.
I'm learning about.
Well, you do a good job, though. I think your pies are great.
Well, thank you.
Do you
I
bake?
appreciate
I
that.
do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
What's your favorite thing to bake between everything that that in the home ex? Like, what is your favorite thing to bake personally?
Well, at my house, it's a lot of chocolate chip cookies.
Oh yeah,
Kind of get tired of making the same thing. But I also like to do pies.
Do you? Like when you do pies, do you make a lot of pies at the same time then?
Well,
Because you're in there. You might as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Usually at least two or three.
Yeah.
I do also do a lot of the pies for the Apple Barn, which is one of
Oh.
our sponsors
Yes.
in home ec. And it'll be nothing to put out 30 or 40 or 50 a day when we're doing them there.
Wow. Now, you're friends with Eileen Walsh, right? Yeah.
I am.
And she does pies like crazy. She's
a pie artist.
She is a pie
truly is.
Sue
so
Earle's
good.
also a big time pie baker. It seems like she's always doing something like that.
And we have pies in the park.
Yeah, Eileen started that Pies in the Park thing, which isn't, I guess it's kind of connected to home ec, but a pretty cool contest. Just best pie, bring it in, that's it. And then they get auctioned off to raise money for Barnyard Adventure or something like that. Raises quite a bit of money. But every year she goes and she bakes a pie, like you say, it's a piece of art. And goes to other fairs with it during their pie auctions and sells it to raise money as well.
For them.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And they go for hundreds, if not $1,000 or more. It's crazy. So we have one more new contest down in home ec that we started.
Yes, the birdhouse build off.
Yeah, Tanis Construction sponsoring it. A kid can win $5,000 between 9 and 17 years old.
Oh, if only I was in between those ages.
Yeah, and they can pick any
both of these
They can
contests.
pick any adult mentor they want to help them with the project, right? So
Correct.
it doesn't have to be a parent. It can
No.
be a friend, a family friend,
Exactly.
uncle,
Right.
and there's a limit on the size of it.
There's a limit on the size, and it needed to be built for a Wisconsin bird.
That's right, and can't spend any more than $100 on
Correct. On materials.
materials. Yeah, so we've got, I think, close to 100 entries already in that.
I can't wait to see all of these different entries and
Yeah, we're going
Yeah.
to put 100 birdhouses down.
I don't know. I didn't know how many we were having.
There. Oh, sorry.
She about fell out of her
Checked in
chair.
yet.
Revealed now. Yeah. So, no, so it'll be interesting to see, and the judges for that, we've got judges picked out. We won't say names, but
Correct. And we have a woodworking judge and a nature science judge because we want to make sure that birdhouse has been built for that specific bird.
for a bird, yeah.
Oh,
It's not just for looks. It's got to be
Functional.
functional.
Yes.
Yeah. That's cool.
That is cool. I love
And
it.
all those birdhouses are going to be prized possessions for every kid that built those.
They will be.
I mean,
For sure.
that'll be one thing mom's not allowed to throw out when they go to college.
Correct.
Right.
Right. I can't wait to see those. And we're judging those what day during the fair?
That's on Saturday.
Saturday. I think at 2.
Birdhouses are at
Noon.
noon, and the pickled contest is at 3.
At 3. Okay. So if you want to see a kid, I don't care how old you are, they'll break down and cry when they won.
It was so fun to watch the kids last year.
It was.
Oh, I
And-
bet that I missed it last year. I was out doing something else on the grounds and during the fair, and I bet that the tension or just the build up and the
it
excitement
was.
for these kids and for the moms and dads and the mentor that helped them.
Oh, it was
It's so
standing room
cool.
only.
Larry had the opportunity. I pulled him behind the table to look out from the other side so you could see all the faces instead of looking at the back of their heads.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
Oh, we got
that
some
gives me
good
chills.
photos of that too. And the winner, when they announced the winner, I thought she was going to faint. Nice gal, young gal,
wow.
just standing up there with the big prize check, $5,000, and they
Yeah.
get to spend that money on anything they want. It's not like a scholarship or anything. It's just a check.
Wow.
Do what you
Thank
will
you to the
with it.
sponsors for both of those
Yeah,
contests.
no kidding. Tanis Construction on the birdhouse one. So,
Yep.
well, we've got an exciting fair coming up, and I'll admit, Jodi, when I was growing up, I didn't really go to the home ec department during the fair, and I don't know why. I mean, it seemed like it was, when you're young, it's all about rides, and mom and dad maybe drag you through the buildings here and there, and you couldn't go on rides till after that and all of that. So I don't know, as a young boy, it just didn't seem to interest me. But boy, it's one of my favorite departments now to go through there. You see all the work. I mean, it's amazing. Every kid that enters the fair puts a lot of work into it. But there's something about home economics with the detail that it takes.
And it's fun to see the adults
Yeah.
and what they can do. And probably half of them are old 4-H members.
Oh, I believe it. NFFA or whatever. So
It makes me want to be young again and get involved and more involved in the clubs and things like that.
Yeah, if you listen, do yourself a favor. If you come to the fair, get over to the
Absolutely.
Home Economics Department. It's in North Hall. It's kind of on the north end of the carnival, hence the name North Hall, I think, right? So check it out. Take a
Absolutely.
tour over there.
Check it out. And when you're here, make sure that you get your raffle ticket for the Home Tweet Home She Shed that we're raffling off in that same building on Sunday of
That's
the
right.
fair.
Yeah, if you haven't seen this Home Tweet Home She Shed that Tannis Construction built it and donated at the fairgrounds. So 100% of the proceeds go to ag education programs here at the fairgrounds. But this shed, it looks like a birdhouse. It has like a flower pot attached to the side of it that looks like a bird perch. It's round, and then it's got a round window with black trim around it, so it looks like a bird hole. Well, you can see it right through the window there.
I know, right? It's sitting right outside of our office.
But it's wired with electricity. It has kind of fancy lights in it and all of that stuff painted. It's like
So
a
cool.
bird, like a, I don't know, robin egg blue, maybe?
It is, yes,
Robin
yeah.
egg blue.
So
Yeah.
1,000 tickets are being sold, so get
That's it.
yours at the fair office, business hours 8 to 5. So make sure you get yours, and hopefully you'll be able to get.
Yeah, and
put
then
this
head
in your
down
own
to
yard.
Home Ec for that drawing too.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
Some big events down there. This
I
year.
know. Yay!
So
Excited.
Well, Jodi, thank you very much for everything you do for the fairgrounds and
Yeah.
so hard at it.
Thank you.
And it takes a love of the fair, really does.
does.
It does. Yeah, and you certainly show that with all the work that you do.
And I love the fair. We've had a lot of fun, a lot of family memories, friends made that I made 40 plus years ago that I still see at the fair every year.
Isn't that great?
It is.
Well,
Yeah.
hats off to you.
Absolutely.
And your husband, by the way, he does quite a bit of work for us too. He's a welder down at RC Welding. He owns, right?
Yes,
And,
he does.
Yep, he's super skilled. And he comes, he loves the fair too. Trying to get a welder short notice, tough stuff. But when the fair's coming up and he needs something right now, he'll jump to it. So great family. Kids, right? How many kids?
One.
And how old?
21.
21.
So he spent early days at the fair in 4-H himself, and now he gets pulled in to help me down in my building as well.
Nah. Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
I bet.
the reward of being a superintendent's child.
I would
There
say
you go.
moms pulling their kids and family in to help. Do we do that? Absolutely.
Absolutely. How else do those quilts get up to those rafters?
Yes.
Because I don't climb that ladder.
We're putting Larry up on there this
No,
year.
you don't have a ladder strong enough.
I think he might be scared of heights too.
I am
but
He's 21. He can run the ladder.
this is so true. Jodi, what's your favorite fair food? What's one or two things that you always have to do?
Always
have
have
to
a cream
try.
puff.
Oh yeah.
Always get down to stoles.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
That's common with a lot of kids that have grown up showing at the fair. You got to go to Stoles. And
Well,
You do.
that's where we had every meal
Yep.
Yeah.
as a fair kid.
Right. Yep, I head down there a couple times myself during the fair. Any other foods that are your favorite?
Corn dog. Always have to have
Yeah, I
a corn
always
dog.
have, I have
at
a
the
corn
fair.
dog every day during the fair. I do. I might only have one or two bites, but I'm having a
You
corn
have
dog.
to do it. It's
Yeah.
tradition, you know.
What's
so
where's your favorite corn dog stand?
Squires.
Yeah, me too. I love that place. There's a lot of good ones, but that just seems to be my favorite.
yeah, everybody has their favorite things.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Do you get to during the fair? Do you get to go walk around and look at other departments?
Usually not till Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, I believe it. Well, thanks, Jodi. Again, thanks to you and your family for all the help they give to the fair, love of the fair, all of that. It takes good leaders like you to help bring a good quality fair like this together, and we're blessed with lots of them.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So Thanks, Jodi.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having me in.
Thank you for listening to Beyond the Barns podcast with the Walworth County Fairgrounds. Until next time, have a grand champion day.